interview with the second-seeded CLG.
Thank you very much. Darshan and Afromu are joining me here. And normally NA beating EU would be a big story, but none of that right now. The most important thing here is that CLG locks in the second place after the group stage. And on top of that, you've beaten every single team in the tournament once. What are the first reactions from you, Afro, after what is honestly a magnificent group stage from your team?
First reactions after group stage? Well, I'm proud of my team that we showed that we can beat every single team in the group stages, as we've shown. But coming into this last day, we wanted to definitely clean things up a little bit. And then for the downtime we have, like 2 or 3 days before playoffs start, we're going to clean up most of our map play and have a better plan going into the series versus, I don't even know who we play, but yeah.
Well, I'm about to tell you, you have locked in the second spot. That means all the rest is locked as well. That means you play the Flash Wolves, and SKT will be playing RNG. Obviously, Darshan, earlier in the day, you had a great game versus those Flash Wolves already. So the analyst said you are the favorites going into the final. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Flash Wolves is probably the team we want to play against the most out of the other 3 teams at the tournament. And I think if we just clean up some of our sloppiness, we'll be really good going into that set.
Yeah. It's getting loud in here. Smithy is getting interviewed over by the LPL crew. How different will it be now that you had a whole group stage where you had 24-hour turnarounds, and it must have been very much a lot of pressure? How did you guys deal with that? Did you guys just VOD review every night, make a new plan, and how is that going to change going into this a lot of preparation time you have?
Our preparation coming into every day for the group stages. Every day we had a new preparation plan for every team, and then once we played them once, then we had notes to go over what they did and now what they have adapted for coming into the second set of the round robin. And we're pretty tired, I would say.
Yeah.
Stayed up late sometimes, talking about what we should be doing, what the enemy team is going to do and stuff like that. But group stages has actually been really fun.
Yeah, talking about the plans, of course, some criticism towards CLG and former international events has been they seem to abandon what they're good at when they play over in the NALCS and just kind of take on new things. It seems that here, you guys have found an approach to kind of integrate the best things from all the other teams. How would you say you've approached this MSI or this international tournament as opposed to the others, Darshan?
I feel like we had a good grasp on this meta coming in. We knew exactly how we had to play, and I felt like we kind of practiced everything we needed to do through the whole split, and we really had an idea of what we wanted to improve on for playoffs. And then when we came to MSI, I felt like we were kind of a little more solid, making less mistakes than all the other teams, and I think that's the biggest difference, is that we have a better idea of how to close out the game, and we play more as a team.
Are you happy with your play in particular? Obviously, that top lane meta of Poppy and Echo and Maokai. Your Maokai game was extraordinary. How has the transition been to playing only those 3? And are you looking forward to hopefully playing some other champs? Or?
Yeah, I'm not really that happy with what champions I've had to play and the way I've had to play the game, but I'm kind of happy that I get to play as part of the team and play the best way to win. So I'm kind of happy for myself and my team, but I think my play could be a lot better.
I like when Darshan plays tanks. Thanks, man.
Well, also, let's talk about NA showing Korea the meta. Soraka coming out in that SKT game earlier. What do you think of the evolution of kind of the support meta? There was a lot of talk about those range champions that you talked about in the beginning as well, but it seems that the playing field is really, really open now for supports.
I would say bottom lane has become really stale due to most teams taking double TP for their solo lanes. And usually when you make an aggressive play bottom, sometimes it's punished and sometimes it's not. And I would say range supports definitely deal with that a lot better since they can control how the pace of the lane goes. If you pick a counter for all the tank melee supports that these teams are picking that want to make the one big play as soon as everyone is ready. And then range supports can just fend that off easier than when you play melee versus melee.
Yeah, final 2 questions maybe. Afromu, you had a lot to say about Stixxay. You caught some flack for the things you said about him, praising him beforehand. Now it's turning out that he is doing amazing. How have you seen him grow specifically in this tournament?
How have I seen him grow? Well, he's just Trevor to me, and I'm proud of him for what he's doing, and I'm going to make sure it doesn't get to his head, of course.
Okay.
But when I said these things before and everyone wanted to flame on me for that, there's nothing else to say, so that's about it.
Playing on the Rift, Darshan, of course, you've always been very confident in international competition. now you're bringing the goods with the team. You said from the beginning, top 2 is where it's at, but as the guy said, favorites going into the final. How do you expect your chances of winning? How high are they at this moment?
Well, I'm definitely not going to say 100% because it hasn't happened yet, but I feel like it's always good to have the mentality that you can win, your team can win, and to believe that you can beat your other opponents, and that's how I've won into this tournament. That's how I've won into every tournament. I believe that we can be the best. I believe that we can win, and we're going to do everything in our power to bring home the trophy for NA.
Well, fantastic, and fantastic group stage for you guys. Thank you very much. We'll see you in the semifinals versus Flash Wolves. And now back over to the guys at the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Shocks. Great to hear from those guys as they lock in the second seed going into the bracket stages. Afro said that this has been an extraordinarily fun group stage to play. Well, it's been even more fun for us to watch all the way through. But CLG over G2 in a very quick game in what was a little scary right at the beginning with the early kill onto Huhi and then the return gank. There was one of those moments where at least I had a slight jump. My heart maybe skipped a beat thinking this could go the wrong way.
I mean, we knew CLG picked a bulldozer of a team fight composition, and I actually said to Spawn before, and it's like, I bet you Perks gets first blood on Huhi because he's going to be playing this lane so aggressively, and unless they're there for a counter gank or something, it's going to happen. And then it did happen, but then the second time it happened, they were actually there for the counter gank. And even though Huhi died because he didn't flash away, they were still able to pick up 2 kills and even it out.
And I just want to give even more credit to Afro. I mean, I've been praising his range support. He takes Braum into the LeBlanc matchup. I know supports don't match up against mid laners. I'm not that dumb, but like in every single team fight, he just always has like the most important, close to the target priorities back and shuts out what was a fed Perks. Like time and time again, this guy is just coming up massive for his team, and Darshan's right there behind him. So I really think that even though the carries on CLG are starting to step up and really shine, their support staff is getting better behind them, and it just even amplifies how good Stixxay looks in these games.
Yeah, and I just want to recap a little bit on the CLG style. Coming into this MSI, I think they're picking a lot of strong bottom lanes, and they're always going for the team fight compositions in this tournament. And like compare that to SKT, they said they don't really pick, they pick mainly comp for bot lane, but not for just to win the lane. That's a huge difference.
Yeah, that's a very stark contrast. As we look towards the bracket stage, I want to pull up our graphics since we have them now locked in. We've got RNG playing SKT. That'll be on Friday. The Saturday matchup is going to be that CLG versus Flash Wolves matchup. CLG holding that head-to-head. We heard Darshan say this is the team that they would have wanted to play out of the 3 in their semifinal. And
well, if you chew all them in the brackets in the group stage, like yes, that would be the logical answer since they're 1-1 against the other guys.
I would say that this is also the team Flash Wolves wants to face the most, probably out of the couple ones, because SKT coming into bracket stage, 4 days preparation, they're going to be scary as hell.
Yeah, if they kind of ramp back up to what we expect them to be, then that's a scary semifinal to be in, RNG versus SKT.
Neither of those teams are happy about being there, I'd imagine.
Exactly, and we're going to get a preview of that, obviously, in our very final game of the group stage that's coming up soon. But just to kind of close out the point on CLG, Spawn, if we had to pick a weakness, I think, on CLG moving forward, a person that we're going to look at, Huhi, Jad already mentioned it, with those flashes, you're holding onto your flash twice and you die twice early game. Those are the kinds of advantages that G2 might not take advantage of, but you give that to SKT, you give that to RNG, you give that to Flash Wolves, they're going to run away with it.
Yeah, I think more importantly is that the mid laners for these teams are actually in form. Like, you cannot give Maple an advantage on LeBlanc because he's going to actually be able to execute on a couple more of these flanks. He's going to find your AD carry more often than not. So I do think that that is a big point. However, in saying that, I will say that CLG rally behind the members on the team that aren't playing well, incredibly well. I mean, the collapse out of Darshan, he pretty much gave up his lane. He was like, Kickers, I'm done with you. I'm already winning this lane. I'm going to go save the mid lane. I'm going to go snowball my bottom lane by teleporting in and getting that double kill. So I really think that even though Huhi is playing poorly, he's kind of like a sacrificial lamb because they're still getting advantages out of it. And it is a team game after all.
Yeah, I think Flash Wolves is really kind of like the reverse CLG. Like, CLG is using Hui to bait, Stixxay to do damage, and Flash Wolves are using NL to bait, Maple to do damage. So it's kind of interesting. I really think it's who's going to snowball the strong points of their team.
Well, although our bracket stages are still are decided, rather, don't worry, we've not had a League of Legends action yet. Coming up after the break, it's a playoff preview between China's RNG versus Korea's SK Telecom. Don't touch that browser. We'll be right back.
The last chance for G2.
CLG need to win this game here to guarantee that second place. avoiding RNG and facing Flash Wolves instead.
Casual movement to the side's going to get Emperor to relative safety, but he just gets destroyed. That's all they needed. Kick is going to make his way in, but the exhaust still there for Afromu, and Stixay's just having a field day. Locking people down. There's the exhaust, but it's not enough to stop Emperor from picking up the kill. Blade of the Ruined King comes down. This is massive for G2 as the heal comes out. There's the theory, but unfortunately didn't quite work. But Huhi going down very low. Darshan, massive, as there's the ultimate out of Trick, but saving the members of CLG a lot. Just turning it on against the Europeans. And that is going to lock up the second place for North America.